Welcome back to the JFP podcast. I'm back with Randy and myself, and today we got a special guest, Brandon Olson. He is the writer at Paintball Dirt, and he's also part of Lake Superior Legacy. What's up, Brandon?
Hey man, how's it going today?
Doing perfect. Yeah, excited to have you on, and I kind of want to dive right into what you do with Paintball Dirt, your weekly newsletter, and kind of talk about Lake Superior Legacy, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, man, sounds like a blast. I'm excited to be here, excited to talk paintball. I'm glad that you guys started this podcast. It's cool that the small paintball scene in Minnesota can put out some more content. I love it.
Yeah, we're excited to do this, and only trying to grow the community. So I appreciate you having you on.
Oh, of course, dude. Paintball Dirt is a weekly newsletter put out on the Substack platform. I basically started it almost a year ago. I think we got a couple more weeks and it'll be a year. I was kind of feeling unfulfilled just with like my job and hobbies and things like that. And as you know, in the wintertime in the upper Midwest, paintball is it's a different experience, right? We either play outside in the cold when our markers and the paint doesn't work, or we make a trip to play indoors, either at the Siege, which for me is a great distance away, or Splat Ball, Minneapolis, at like Friday nights. And you got to basically skip out of work, like get out of work, and then head down there to play for a few hours. And like that's your paintball experience. So just talking with my wife and a few other close people with me, my wife was just like, hey, you should really like start a newsletter or something, write about paintball, because I have actually like contributed to a lot of paintball things in the past, mostly not under my own name, just helping other people with projects. So the idea was, if I do a weekly newsletter, I get to cover the stuff I want, showcase all the stuff that I think is cool, and connect with the paintball community every week, multiple times a week, through phone calls, messages, emails, that kind of stuff. And I started doing Q&As relatively quickly, so I get to actually do short interview content with members of the paintball community all across the world. So
that's awesome.
yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah. So that's kind of how we got here today. But yeah, it's just been a lot of fun so far. Like I said, great to connect with the community, talk with more people. And I don't know about you guys, but after the first time I played paintball, it kind of created this scratch that, or this itch, I guess, that only paintball can scratch, and there's nothing else that comes close. So being involved in paintball almost every day now is just fun, right? It's
Yeah,
just fun.
no, I,
It's
I
like what
agree
we all want anyway.
100%.
And so like when I'm doing other things, I'm thinking paintball, like, and it's been that way since I started playing. So now, I might spend a couple minutes on the computer typing something up, looking at a new product, watching a new video, finding something to share. So yeah, that's kind of like the nuts and bolts of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was reading one of your articles about you doing a Q&A session with the coach of the New York Wrecking Crew. How do you get an opportunity with something like that?
Yeah, Steve. Yeah, so that's actually like young Stevie, like the guy from Play the Game podcast. He does a lot of
Yep.
work for them. Honestly, I had reached out to him when he was putting out stuff with Flow PB because he owns his own paintball company. And so we did a Q&A earlier on in the year that was just highlighting his company and the kind of stuff he was working on, what he was planning on doing for the year, that kind of thing. And so like obviously he, like responded and was super happy to do it. And it kind of meant a lot to me. So obviously I become a big fan of Wrecking Crew, right? Like he's one of the leaders on that team, kind of a bigger semi-pro team, right? And
sure.
so follow them all through the season and then they win World Cup, right? I kind of messaged him like, hey, congrats, man. Happy to see you guys win. I love following you throughout the season, I said, hey, if you want to do a Q&A and just this time about Wrecking Crew, like, let me know. He said, yo, send the questions. So that's how that one worked out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really cool. I mean, get to talk to somebody right after winning World Cup, right? Like, that's pretty cool. And there's not a lot of people besides, podcasters like you guys are doing, asking questions and, getting real stories out. Obviously, Go Sports and Major League Paintball, they do a great job. And then there's, some YouTube and podcasts episodes out there, but there's not like anything written. So my whole thought was like, let me get you something you can read when you're drinking your coffee, like the night before you need to head to the field and you're charging your equipment and cleaning your guns and stuff like that. That was my idea. So if you read through most of the Q&As, it's usually 6 to 9 questions somewhere in there, nothing too crazy, all pretty basic, and I don't ask anything too crazy. I just want to get some real info and connect with people.
Right.
So that's kind of how I ended up with that one, is I had already talked to him earlier in the year. So yeah, if you scroll back on Paintball Dirt, you'll be able to see that one, and it's literally Stevie just talking about his brand because that's what I was asking him questions about. So thought, you know what? Let me ask you questions about Wrecking Crew, with the whole roster mania thing and pro spots being bought and sold. One of the big question marks early on in the offseason was who's actually looking to buy, who's in a position to buy, and what team, wants to gut it out in semi-pro. So I think it was good that I was able to ask somebody, that was obviously in the camp of Wrecking Crew and had some insider info on what they were planning on doing.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I think it's super cool that there's multiple different forms of paintball that you can consume. Like the writing that you do, not everybody wants to sit there and watch a video, like you said, especially for your morning coffee and whatnot. There are a lot of iPad kids, but people do like to sit down and relax and read something while sipping a cup of coffee. And I think what you're doing is amazing and really suits that.
And on top of that, you have really quick reads, that
Yeah.
grab the attention of the reader, where it's not overbearing, where you talk about what you want to talk about. You said that you don't want to dive too things, but you want to talk about the main things going on in the paintball community. And I think just talking about those, surface level facts of what's going on, what you want to talk about, getting it out to the readers is, huge, because again, like, not a lot of people want to read very long stories and get bored. And then I like how you keep it simple, you keep it very quick, and your delivery is very good. So
I
really
agree.
do appreciate that.
I agree.
Yeah, thanks guys. Most readers read it via email. So they've got, 2-3 scrolls of the thumb before they're moving on to their next email in the morning or just exiting their email app entirely. So the idea is, here's a few sentences on a few products you would like, here's a video, watch now, watch later. Here's a Q&A if I got one, here's a little bit of my thoughts if I've got those. Here's a couple photos. That's it. Move on.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Do you
Yeah.
know off the top of your head how many people you've got subscribed to your newsletter?
Yeah, so just on Substack, I believe I hit 400, which is good considering Substack is a platform just for newsletters and reading and writing. Now, I
Mhm.
do have I do post snippets in a Facebook group, on Instagram as well. So I have like a different following on both those social medias than I do on just Substack in the email newsletter, and it also gets forwarded a ton. So like maybe I included something from a specific event. I'll get like analytics that show like that email was forwarded a bunch of times or shared directly from the email, and I don't really have hard stats on that yet. I'm not a big stats guy, and obviously since I started it just under a year ago, I get a great variety of views and reads and statistics and shares like that week to week. So I don't dive heavy into those, but yeah, I just crossed over the 400 threshold on
That's
Substack,
really cool.
which I know that doesn't seem like a ton, but we're trending on Substack all the time. If I get 3 or 4 subscribers, it adds me to the trending list in sports. So
There you go. That's
Yeah,
awesome, man.
yeah, that's awesome. And I was thinking, I was like, yeah, it had me download an app, and I'm curious to, if people didn't have to download a separate app to sign up for something, it potentially would bolster those numbers. I would. So I think doing at least, yeah, the 400 count is amazing. And yeah, for only doing it for a year, and we're gonna try our best to try to promote you too, because we'd love to promote people like you. We're trying to grow our community, keep our community informed, and yeah, we'll make sure that to throw your newsletter in on the description of the YouTube video or Spotify, or whatever we can do to help you grow too. So we appreciate you.
Yeah.
yeah, awesome, man. Thank you. I do also now finally, after about a year of trying to own the domain name paintballdirt.com. So I finally own that. And if you visit the newsletter through there, you should be able to sign up without downloading the app, and it just gives you just get emails. Unfortunately, Substack really wants people having the app, so they kind of push that on you.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can totally opt out of that. If you just get emails, that's totally cool.
Okay.
That's awesome. Do you want to talk a little bit about Lake Superior Legacy a little bit?
Yeah, so started Lake Superior Legacy at the end of 2016. I guess I should give a little bit of a preamble to why we started the team and why it's called Lake Superior Legacy. So I played for a team called Superior Paintball out of Superior Paintball in Superior, Wisconsin, and we wore red long sleeves. We had our names and numbers like vinyled onto the back. Played for that team. My dad ran it when I was younger. Played for that team until I was 18. And then I joined a team called Midwest Alliance. Now, I don't think you guys were playing around here when that team was playing, but it was 4 of the Wisconsin Evolution guys and then 3 of the Superior Paintball guys. We came together and we were supposed to play I believe it was the CPL, which was a league at CPX Paintball just outside of Chicago. And the league folded in that off season. So we had this brand new team formed for a specific league. Well, since that league folded, we ended up picking a new one, which was the Vintage Paintball Series. So in 2016, we played the Vintage Paintball Series with them. And I was supposed to keep playing with Superior Paintball because we had season entry to a series called the Black Star Patriot Series at Patriot Paintball in Chautauqua, Wisconsin. And that series folded the same year. So
Oh no.
yeah, so that left Superior Paintball, like the team looking for events to play, but the only other local or like regional events close by were the vintage events, and I already was on a roster with another team. So I played that whole season with Midwest Alliance, which notably Jonah Jamrose of Infamous played on. So he was
Sweet.
like one of my teammates for the year. At the end of that year, we kind of saw what had happened to the Superior Paintball crew. We just like weren't having practices, there weren't people playing. And like it's the local field that me and my brother and all of our friends grew up playing at, and it kind of made us sad. So at the end of that season, while we loved playing with some of the Midwest Alliance guys, like 2 of those guys I talk to all the time. But while we liked playing with those guys, we just had to like go back and start something else, start something fresh at Superior Paintball. So we at the end of that year, 2016, we started scrimmaging other teams with our new team, and the guys who were around decided, hey, we need like a team name, and we weren't going to be Superior Paintball because we're going to do things a little bit different. And we settled on Superior Legacy first, but then we made a decision to pick up some of the old Thunder Bay Fury or Thunder Bay Defiance guys from Canada, and they're like up north still right by Lake Superior. So we included the lake in front of Superior to be more inclusive for those guys and tell more of the story of our team.
Nice.
So we became Lake Superior Legacy. We merged with the Thunder Bay team, which I believe they were Thunder Bay Defiance at the time. But some of those, Thunder Bay Fury guys have been around since the early 2000s. So we merged with those guys, started Lake Superior Legacy. And then that season, I believe, that first season was 2017 where we competed. We played D4 at the first vintage event, won that, and then we had 2 teams in Division 5 for the whole year. And then the Division 4 like whole series folded, so there wasn't any Division 4 events. So we would just prepare all the younger guys. And we ended up winning the series in D5 that year, with like all of our brand new kids that we were training up. So that was pretty cool. All the D4 guys couldn't play. You could only have 1 Division 4 drop on the team. So yeah, so we would show up to the events, all the experienced guys coaching, we'd have 12 players there, but, split between 2 lines, a bunch of wives and girlfriends, things like that. And we just rolled deep, coached our guys. We played in, I believe, every finals that year in D5. Couldn't win one, but we ended up winning the series. And then the other team, I think, took 3rd for the series. So
Nice.
that's kind of the origin story for the team. It was, well, we set out to kind of like win a D4 series, and then everything, around us died. It was still good to like bring people up in the game. And so that kind of became our culture of like finding D5 guys or brand new guys and getting them to play events and, molding them.
Right. Yeah, the D4 scene is really hard to find out here. Finding tournaments that are D4 and they're local, it's hard to find.
Yeah, it's almost impossible.
I think the reason is, as we all know, is that there's not a lot of people doing it, so therefore fields are creating D4 tournaments. And I know a lot of our guys coming up here in the next season and a half here are going to be turning D4, and so we're going to have to be more of a traveling team in order for us to get that D4 itch or to get that scratching on D4. So yeah, we like we said before, we're planning to do EXL at D5 this year, and then potentially in the next couple seasons we're going to be doing D4 after that. So yeah, not a lot of D4 tournaments around here. I hope that changes. I hope we can get more people into the sport, and as those people continue to progress through the sport, D5 into D4, we can start getting more D4 tournaments in and around Minnesota, Wisconsin area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I from what I understand, that the Upper Midwest Paintball League that was around for a few years is coming back at a new location, I believe in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. They announced 6 stops on their tournament series, so hopefully that's like a D4 and D5 tournament series, but we don't have the details yet. It'd be really cool if it was both.
Right, yeah, that would be really nice.
Yeah, because when I grew up playing, there was events everywhere at every field that you could play. Now it's not. That's not the case.
Damn.
Which is unfortunately the case. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
keeps you coming back to the field?
Ooh, just to play? I just really like paintball, man. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. We could be playing paintball with slingshots, and I'd be interested. Like, I always tell people, like, I grew up playing every paintball format imaginable, so if it was like, yeah, pumps and pistols in the woods, 12 grams, I'm cool. I'm down with that.
hmm
And that is kind of one of my gripes with modern tournament paintball is we haven't seen much change in the last few years. And to me, there's not a ton of excitement in like the modern X-ball format.
hmm
I think it's still fun. Don't get me wrong, but am I excited to go do it? Not really.
What kind of changes
Not
would
really
you
at
like
all.
to see?
Great question. Super great question. I'm not entirely sure. I've been actually writing about this a lot lately. I just want to see something like fresh and exciting. I really enjoyed watching the ESPN 3-man. I understand like it was too fast for people and they went, like too small of a field and whatnot, but it was still fresh and exciting. I really like higher rates of fire. Obviously 10.5 is the slowest paintball cap we've ever had besides the PSP when it was 10.2 for a year. Not even an event, I think. One event. It was 10.2. So that kind of sucks. I think it doesn't sound as fun. Like I play a lot of hyperball because we built a new hyperball field at my local field for paintball, and so I love the sounds of hyperball,
Right.
like the crack of paintball in the pipes, the way that the bunkers echo. Like it sounds way cooler than the balloon ball sound that we all know.
I
In my
agree.
opinion, it's cooler. So, yeah, I think something like if we're gonna keep playing on these sup airfields, which that's what we're gonna keep doing, like I think we should increase the rate of fire, or do capped semi, but a faster rate of fire, or something. I mean, I'm even a fan of having one guy who can shoot 20 BPS or something. Like have a heavy gunner out there, do something.
That'd
Home
be
guy
funny.
shooting 20 BPS.
That would be
Yeah,
funny.
like let's make it. I know that sounds like super gimmicky, but when did you guys start playing paintball? Like,
About 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
oh man.
Well, I've been playing paintball since high school. And that was 2011, 2012. But I didn't really get back into it until like 3.5 years ago.
Oh yeah, so for a long while, the voices at like the big voices in paintball said we needed to have unified formats. And they thought that was like the key to, television, the Olympics, being a mainstream sport, all that. But in my opinion, what happened when we did that is it kind of took away the soul of a lot of paintball. So you used to play like a 7-man event, then you play a 3-man event, you play a 5-man, maybe you play a 10-man, and there'd be different rules, different firing modes for everything. There was even something called the UWL where you had to have a pump player on your team. You could also have somebody who was shooting like full auto uncapped. There was multiple flags, and you even got to have a guy leave the box early, like a few seconds early. Like that's the kind of stuff that I like. I like, a little bit of excitement, a little bit more variety. One of the reasons I like 10-man so much is you're playing completely wild fields. Like the
Yeah.
fields are just nasty and crazy, and you never know what you're going to expect. And you might play somebody's field that they grew up playing on and they've been playing it 20 years. I think that's exciting. So yeah, I guess I just liked variety, and I still do.
Sure.
Taking somewhat of a step back, what was your first paintball experience?
Okay, so I should explain first that my dad played competitive paintball when I was a child. So we grew up going to paintball events, going to paintball fields, watching. There was even like a relatively large paintball event at a ski slope, just about 25 minutes north of where I live now. So like I could go to a paintball tournament at a different field 20 minutes away than what I was used to. So like as a kid, I'm like 4 or 5 years old, I was in the stands watching, and then I was like at the staging area filling pods, touching somebody's die matrix. You know what I mean? Like that was
That's
my
cool.
experience with paintball was watching it and watching my dad compete
That's
and have a
great.
blast. And my brother and I would be at the local field when we were young, just sitting there with somebody, whoever's watching us. We'd be watching games all day. When I finally got to play paintball, I was 9 years old, and my dad took my brother and I out to the field, and we just played like 2-on-1s. And we were shooting like Titmans with the velocity turned down, so it wasn't like crazy painful or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so my first experience playing paintball was playing against my dad with my twin brother by my side, which was really fun. Like, I had a blast. Got shot a couple times. Didn't bother me none. But obviously, when you start playing with 300 feet per second guns and at the time really fast rate of fire guns, it's a little bit different. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was my first experience. When I turned, I guess when I was 10, I played a full season. Played every Saturday when I was 10. Played my first tournament at the end of that season. It was a hopper ball event, and my brother and I played with a local player. His name was Joe Pierre. He played for Team Superior Paintball at the time, and he carried us to the finals where we lost. I believe it was 1-1 in the finals, and we lost the third point or something. And yeah, so first tournament we ever played. Yeah, we were in the finals. So that was kind of like, after that, I was like, oh man, I need to be playing tournaments.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
a blast. Yeah. And I mean, that first event too, my brother and I shared an electronic loader. So one of us would have to use a gravity and one would use a ricochet. And so if like literally in between like every other point we were swapping hoppers. So I played my first paintball tournament with Autococker Trilogy Tactical. So I had like the tactical shroud on the front. I think like a 16-ounce CO2 tank with a butt stock on it, and then either a gravity fed loader or a ricochet depending on the game.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun when you think about it. You're talking about adding some interesting aspects to the game, kind of utilizing going back and forth using a gravity fed versus an electronic hopper. I think that sounds fun.
That's kind of wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my dad bought that loader in like a gear bag sale, and that was the only thing we had that wasn't a halo. Like a halo would have pushed paint through the breach and into the barrel. And so you'd get, more barrel breaks and some chops and stuff. So we needed something that wasn't going to be force fed and just kind of, agitated. So,
Sure.
yeah.
How long did your dad play paintball for? How old was he when he quote unquote retired from paintball?
But my dad stopped playing like paintball tournaments when I was, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8, somewhere in there. And then on the weekends, he would ref at the local field, both Saturday and Sunday. But he did that for, I don't even know, many, many years. And then he came back to playing paintball tournaments after Brock and I started playing. And we started traveling and going to other fields. Then he started playing more tournaments again. And I believe the last paintball tournament he played was maybe 2019. I played a 3-man with him and my younger sister, and we won. So that was pretty
Nice.
awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was the last tournament he played, I believe.
Where was
No,
that
actually,
at?
no. He played 2 vintage paintball events, vintage VPS events that year in 2019, and he won the last one in D5 because he at the time was what? Trying to remember how old he was. 2019, so he'd have been 49. He was
Nice.
49.
Oh
Good
yeah.
for him. Holy.
Yeah, and so once you hit the age of 40, your APPA points start diminishing at a faster rate. So when I first started playing events, his APPA had diminished all the way down to Division 3, I believe. Yeah, it diminished down to Division 3, and then eventually to Division 4. So he could be our like Division 4 drop when we play a D5 5-man. And then and then it comes full circle. He's the D5 player, and so he got to play a full season of D5 again in 2019. And we're trying to get him to play at least one tournament this year. So because he's D5 again.
There you go.
That's awesome.
He'll be 56 this year. So
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What tournaments is LA Spear Legacy planning on playing this coming season, if you know at all?
yeah. So we're actively, looking at this UMPL situation. We don't know what to expect. We're looking optimistically towards that. Their first attempt at a tournament series, they didn't have like a solid referee crew, which, as you guys know, can make or break a tournament series.
Yeah.
So now they're hopefully in a better spot. Yeah, so we're looking at that. We've got some guys who are still Division 5, and they played last year the Annandale 3-man at the end of the year. I believe they took
Mhm.
fourth. Yeah, they took fourth.
Nice.
That was their first paintball tournament together. And obviously they're all D5 again, so they are going to play both Annandale 3-mans, if that's how it goes, and then whatever other D5 events we can find and play. We're going to play that WCPL 10-man event at Commando again, and then we're waiting on the ICPL to drop their release schedule, or release their schedule. We play a lot of 10-man these days. Our group is getting a little bit older for the core, and we just really enjoy the format. We like playing mechanical markers, crazy different fields, that kind of stuff. So, and there's something about being with like 9 of your homies at a start box in the middle of the woods. That's just you can't get that feeling playing X-ball or 5-man or 3-man.
I would love to try a 10-man.
Yeah, you got to, man. Like, even if I know Vintage will have like some 10-man scrims or mechanical paintball scrims. Obviously, Superior Paintball, our home field, will be a mechanical scrum almost every weekend this year. And we have like a really good hyperball field, an awesome like concept 10-man field. This woods ball field that is, I've been telling everybody it's like a world-class woods ball field, and people didn't believe me. And then we went and played that one at Commando. People were like, "Oh my God, our field at home is insane compared to this." And it's like, yeah, man, like most woods ball fields are trash, like a couple stick piles here and there and some really awful shooting lanes. We have like a really nice one, and it's on a slope. So there's a high side and a low side. So it's usually like both teams racing to the high side to try and get that high ground, and then throwing bodies down low to stay alive. And it's a blast, and it's super unique. Yeah, I don't know. We got a nice woods ball field. It's hard to explain unless you play it. If you guys get the opportunity to come up and mix in with us doing some of that, I highly recommend it. It's just a blast, even for a day.
For sure.
It's a blast.
Yeah, because when I went up there with Unaffiliated, we played with you guys for a day a year and a half ago. And I really liked because you were in the process of building the hyperball field, and I don't know exactly what kind of field we were playing on, but it was like a mix of hyperball and like
the concept field. Yeah.
the concept field. Yeah, and that was really fun, and I really liked playing with you. Definitely want to get our guys up and play with you guys up at Superior Paintball.
Yeah. We have better paint now. I swear, we have better paint. That was I don't. Randy, I don't know if Keegan told you about the paint situation that day, but nobody could get paint out of their barrels. It was unbelievable.
It was just breaking.
Dude, it was so bad.
Oh,
you would have like 2 or 3 good pods, and then it was awful.
And our one guy who had the new at the time, it was a die, one of the newer die guns at the time. I can't remember the middle tier one. Can't remember the top of my head right now. But he was shooting just fine. Just fine. Just like, I don't know what you guys are running into, but I'm shooting my gun just shooting fine. I was like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, dude, we were running into issues. It was like the wait time between points was crazy because people were cleaning out, paint from their I and D tent covers. Like, it was awful.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And you know what's funny is the week before we shot the exact same paint, and it was immaculate, like perfect, no barrel breaks, nothing. It gets warm. Like, it was a decent day. It was like 50 degrees out, like beautiful. And for some reason, we got to a different batch of paint, and it was horrendous. It's like it's a funny time thinking about it now, but I remember being like, man, we've got all these people playing 10-man here, and nobody can shoot paint. But
shit happens.
It definitely creates a memorable experience where you're like, remember the one time where the paint just sucked ass?
Oh, dude, yeah. That was one of them. People still talk about that to this day. They're like, hey, remember when some of the JFP guys came up and the paint was trash? Like, yeah, I do remember.
It's obviously, it's not the fault of anybody. But
no, it was just like horrendous.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Right.
Sometimes we just get a shitty ass batch of paint, and all we can do is laugh.
Yep. Yeah, but like I said, would love to have you guys up here again for something. Even if you guys just want to come out and we play street ball or something, that'd be fun.
I'd be down for that.
I'm curious if we can try to get the Warbird. So, like, I've had this talk with JT from Annandale. Like, we are, but we aren't a sister team to the Warbirds. Like, we are really chill with them, but like, we can't intertwine players because they sign their own contract with JT and the Warbirds. But it would be cool if we can get a couple teams up there and maybe get like a scrimmage going where we can play different teams.
I agree.
Yeah, we last year we had Air Assault come up the last, I don't know, you remember one of the weekends in September when they were getting ready for, that final ICPL event.
Mhm.
And that's always a blast, like a good scrimmage with those dudes. Obviously, they've had a lot of success in the format over the last few years, and they always field pretty good rosters. And yeah, we've had them up now 3 or 4 times to just have like a good 10-man day. So
Nice.
it'd be cool, yeah, to include you guys or anybody else who would want to. That'd be a blast.
Yeah, I'll talk to JT and see what he's got planned, and hopefully we can get, it would be cool if we can get some of the vintage, the Havoc guys, the Warbirds, us come up, and then we all have a scrimmage that day and just play each other. And I think that would be really fun.
Yeah, I also want to get down to vintage now that they have that airball field. Um, the last time I played there in airball, it was like right before they got rid of their airball field, and then they didn't have one for a few years. So I think it's cool that they have one now, and anyone can sign up and play. Because obviously we don't put up a sup airfield anymore. We put the hyperball field where traditionally the sup airfield had been. So
Mhm.
now if we want to play that, I know we've gone to a couple of those Annandale Sunday challenges. I haven't personally made it down, but we've sent some guys to a few of those, and they've loved it.
Yeah,
Nice.
and we've been to Vintage last year, and we really liked the experience, but just the drive for some of us is, a little too much. We'd like to support Vintage a little bit more, but like I said, our the drive for most of our guys, because most of our guys live in South Dakota and out west in Minnesota, like taking that
Oh
long
yeah.
drive, going through the cities, and then to Hudson, Wisconsin is can be a trek for some people. And JT usually gives us a decent price for our practices, so it's also a cost money thing at the
Hmm.
same time. But
Yeah,
yeah,
how far away from Annandale are you most of you?
well, Randy lives 20 minutes away.
Yeah, I'm 20 minutes from the field, so
And
Nice.
then I'm about 45-minute drive. And then I know a couple of guys live in the east, not sorry, the west side of the Twin Cities. So their drive is roughly between 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And then we got a couple of guys that live out in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and their drive is 2, 3 hours in the morning.
yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, just depending on what we do, where we go. I mean, it's a pretty long drive for quite a few people.
Yeah, sounds like it, man.
What's a funny or best moment that you just can think of off the top of your head while playing paintball?
What at least a fond memory I have, I believe it was 2021, so like right after the pandemic, or like kind of in the middle of the pandemic. We brought a team to play the Annandale Fodman in the summertime, and we our our normal field is mostly like sand, and there's some grass, and so we don't get to play on turf very often. And
Hmm.
I like ripped a hole in my leg that day, like just
Oh,
from turf burn. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I had to like tape my leg, like tape a little hole in my leg shut, and we ended up winning the event. It's really fun. Had a blast. I guess like that's a great memory because we were pretty isolated for a long time up here. Like people were not traveling up here to play, and we were just like chomping at the bit to play an event. And then we finally get one, and we're able to win. And I was able to win with one of my good friends, McCoy Ritchie. He still plays a lot. Chris Cap still plays with us a lot. Some of the other guys we played with don't play much anymore, but like that was a really great moment for me. I'd never won a paintball tournament with Chris Caps because he was kind of one of the OG players around when I was a kid, and then took time off. And yeah, he comes back during COVID, and we grinded for months. And then McCoy Ritchie was like a D5 player and had no faith in himself to win a D4 event. And I was like, nah, dude, you'll be good. Like you've been grinding with us, like one-on-ones every week, that kind of stuff. So for me, like that whole ride home, I was smiling because
Yeah,
it was a blast. So
that's awesome. Good for you guys.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
I mean, I know that seems simple, but it was like during the pandemic, right? So there wasn't a whole lot going on. You just
Right.
really badly want to play a paintball tournament,
No, it's definitely a good
and then
feeling.
yeah, and then to win with your friends that you've been playing with the last few months, like pretty aggressively, is awesome.
Yeah.
it's going back to RJ's brotherhood statement. It's all about playing with the guys you love to play with.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, that's huge. But yeah, I wanted to ask about your first paintball marker that you bought, and then what do you currently do? What are you currently rocking right now?
Yeah, my first paintball marker was that Autococker Trilogy Tactical. I unfortunately sold it to somebody who made it into a pump, so that's unfortunate. Wish I'd have kept it. Currently I'm shooting an EMEC for mechanical tournaments, and
Mhm.
I have mine set up to shoot blazing fast, and I can walk the trigger, and it's a bit absurd. So I love that. And then I have a MacDiv Droid, the new one, and
Ooh.
I absolutely love that. MacDiv actually sent me one earlier, well, actually, like the later part of last year to review. So I did a review on Paintball Dirt of the MacDiv Droid, and I liked it so much I actually bought one. And I've pretty much owned every high-end paintball marker made in the last 20 years at this point, and I really really enjoyed shooting it. It shoots like a gun from Halo. It's got crazy feedback and kick that I love. It's not efficient at all, but I really love it. I think MacDev ergonomics are slept on. Even like going back to like the MacDev Clone GT, I thought that gun felt insane in the hands, and ever since then, I've kind of made it a point to either shoot or own one of their high ends ever since.
Sure.
And yeah, I just really like the droid. It handles really bad paint nicely, shoots the good paint even better. It's really simple. There's no frills. I don't want any of the dumb stuff in the case. So that's what I've got besides the EMEC. As far as like things I'm bringing to the field and shooting, I have, I don't know, 40 plus other markers, but that's the
wow.
stuff that I'm going to use. Yeah.
What do you got in your
So-
gear bag?
So gear bag, I'm gonna bring, like I said, I'm bringing the MacDev. I've got that EMEC. I've got an Ether 3M. That's a backup to the EMEC, and then just my basics. I got a control. I mean, not a control. What's the carbon? The DRV. I got the DRV.
Drive.
Yeah, so I can shoot my EMEC as fast as I want. Yeah, I got a pair of Proflexes, headgear. I actually really badly need to get new like a pants and jersey and things. My jersey, I have a carbon jersey that's a few years old. I need to get a refresh and get a new one. And then yeah, carbon pack. Got way too much gear that I don't bring to the field, but that's what I'm bringing.
There you go.
So you said you have around 40 markers. I was wondering
Mhm.
if you can name your top 3 that you've shot throughout, your years of playing paintball.
Ooh, top 3 ever?
Yeah.
Oh man, okay. Top 3 markers I've ever shot. I would say an autococker. So obviously my first paintball gun was an autococker, so I loved them a lot.
Mhm.
My trilogy was not the best shooting one that I've owned, but I love an SFL, so like a ShockTech SFL. My dream gun is a gloss black 09 SFL. I haven't been able to find one for a reasonable price, but I do have a prototype 2017 SFL and then another 17 SFL sitting behind me. And then I have a ShockTech hookup SFL. So I just like those in general. So I'll use one of those as like a top 3. I shot an axe for a long time, the original one. I know you guys weren't really like playing when that came out and was at the field, and everybody was shooting axes. So I had one of those that everything on it has been replaced so much that the actual breech won't seal anymore because it's the breech is worn. So I have one of those.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man, like skids upon skids upon skids of paint. And
That's
when I was
awesome.
playing the most paintball when I was 18 years old, that's what I was using. So I've got a soft spot for the axe, the original axe. I know that's nothing crazy, but that's got to be on my list.
Sure.
Workhorse.
And then yeah, like it's just on there. And then I honest to God, I love the LV platform. And I had an Aftershock, like that blue, silver, black splash, LV 1.5, and I shot that all of 2019, and that would definitely be my top 3. That'd be like in the top 3. That gun I sold to a friend of mine, and he still has it. One day I'll buy it back just so I can hang it on the wall, but
How do you stay organized having all this gear?
I'm not.
Okay.
Not at all. Yeah. I know people are always like, I don't even want to see what. I'm like, no, you don't. There was a time, like the room I'm sitting in now, there was a time last year where the whole room was Proflexes, and it was bad.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like 170 Proflexes or something. So
Wow.
we're not as deep into collecting that stuff right now. Because it takes up a lot of space, and like, let's be honest, when you go to the field, you're gonna wear 2 pairs of goggles, right?
Yeah.
So, and all the cool stuff I wasn't wearing, so slowly traded that stuff away. Now I mostly have autocockers and the JT Proteus goggles. I don't know if you're familiar what those looked like, but I have a bunch of those. Yeah, totally not organized at all.
There you go.
Are you collecting anything in particular at the moment?
Yeah, ShockTech autocockers. I have 2 of, no, I have 2 of, like I said, I have those 2, and then I have the ShockTech hookup. It's like a silver to blue fade. That's really cool. I saw it in a magazine when I was a kid, and then had the opportunity to buy one in the fall of last year, and I bought it, and it was a steal.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, then I have one of those new Nova pump autocockers. Bought one of those. So it's pretty dope. I just got an Gen 1 die autococker milled by Aaron Carter, famous machinist in the early days of paintball and die and all those things. So I just got
Sure.
one of those. And then I have a Fight Club. I don't know what year, but it's like an orange free flow autococker as well. I'm probably not going to keep that. I'm probably going to trade that. I'm trying to trade that away for an SFL, but haven't quite found the right trade yet. Yeah, so that's what I'm currently getting after, some Shock Tech stuff.
awesome.
Which I know for you guys, like when Chicago Aftershock was like dominating in the early 2000s, like the late 90s, that story kind of, it was held high in the minds and at the fields and that kind of stuff everywhere through the Midwest. It was like Aftershock, Aftershock, Aftershock. They had players from all over the Midwest on the team. People at the field had stories of playing against them or playing with them, and how good they were, how mean they were, the beatdowns they put on people on and off the field. So to me, like, that Aftershock stuff really means something.
Sure, yeah.
So that's kind of where my Shock Tech obsession comes from. It's like as a kid, you see all when they were going on those crazy runs, right? Like they had won so many World Cups. Like when I was a kid, they had won way more World Cups than any other team.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like they were the guys, and they shot Shock Tech. So I had like Shock Tech parts on my Ion when I had the opportunity. Like I had an Ion, but it had a Shock Tech trigger, ASA, speed neck, anything that could be Shock Tech was Shock Tech. So yeah.
I could be wrong, and I'm sorry if I sound like an idiot. But did Shock Tech transform into Shocker?
No, they did not. The Shocker stuff was like East Coast, like the Gardeners.
Cut that out. Cut that out.
Yeah, cut that out because I'll tell you what, neither of them would like to be associated with each other. They were arch enemies at that time. So, like, yeah, like the Shocker, like the company Smart Parts that made Shocker, right? That was the All American guys. So back in those days, it was Ironman, All American, Chicago Aftershock. Those were like the Power Three. Like those teams were playing in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like maybe one of them wouldn't be, but you could count on two of them playing in the finals. Now keep that in. You got to keep that in. That's awesome. You'll get some hate comments and some traction with that.
Me looking like an idiot. But
no, that's good.
You said you started your newsletter basically during the off season, during the winter time. Is there anything else you do during the winter time to keep your paintball skills on the up and up?
Currently not really. We built an indoor reball facility at one of my buddy's houses. We put it in his basement a few years ago, and he recently sold that house and moved.
Oh.
So we still have all the equipment to do like a full reball facility, and we're working on plans for a second one. We're just waiting for the perfect and the right space.
Sure.
So currently, not really. And I know we're like a little bit further north than like the guys who play in the cities and stuff, but we get way colder temperatures on the regular. So our outdoor experience in the wintertime, we're just at the mercy of Mother Nature. I do have like a target shooting set up here. If you want, I can send you photos of what it looks like. I'm not trying to share my secrets live. I know it's honestly really cool, but not a ton of people like have thought about this. So I'll totally send you guys photos so you can see. But I have that if I'm feeling like I need a snap shoot.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Doesn't involve shooting a paintball at all, too, which is kind of cool. And I have a sound off or sound on setting for it, so it's pretty rad. I know like some people get into the VR paintball stuff. I'm not into that really. And then I study a lot of film. Like I grew up wrestling, and in wrestling, like a lot of your experience and stuff comes from reps, right? It's like as many reps as possible, quality reps. There was no substitute for wrestling. Well, I found that like just watching, people get into the same positions you were struggling at was really helpful for me, just for my brain. So with paintball, when I started competing in paintball, my big thing was I'm going to steal reps. So if people are playing and I don't paint, I'm watching. So if I'm at the field and people are, doing drills, they're playing 1-on-1s or 3-on-3s, 2-on-2, whatever it is, I'm stealing those reps by watching. I religiously watch every pro paintball match, and now that we have like the Lone Wolf field that's streamed as well, I watch every semi-pro and WNXL match streamed, and then every month or so I pick a different paintball event throughout history, and then I'll do a deep dive on that event and I'll watch every match. I used to take a lot of notes for that. I do now if I recognize a tendency or something that pops up, more than 2 or 3 times, I'll note it. And then if it keeps happening, I'm tally marking it. If I see something cool, like a cool move, I'm naming it and time stamping it on a video.
Hell yeah.
And I'm coming back to it. So yeah, that's what I do right now. I also have been like kind of soothing a nagging pair of injuries. I've been kind of beat up the last couple years, like physically. So I was having like a really bad shoulder problem where it just kept coming out and coming out and coming out. And the last, few months of not playing have done wonders for me in healing that and feeling better.
Yeah.
So, which this has been the longest break I've taken from paintball since I was 9. These last 4 months maybe.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's been great to heal a little bit.
How old are you now?
I am 28.
Damn,
that's
you're
a
younger
long-
than me.
It's
Holy
a long
fuck.
time.
Yeah,
I felt like
young.
I was old or young. Or I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
Wow.
still young. Still got a lot of paintball ahead of me.
For
That's
sure.
good, though.
Yeah, it's funny though. Like since I started playing when I was 9, it's funny how the sport has kind of gone away from it being, like a lot of kids at the field. Now, like on my 10-man team, dude, like I think the last 10-man event we played, we took 3rd at that Wisconsin WCPL event, but I think I was the second youngest guy on the team.
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, this is crazy. Like I've been playing since I was 9, man. Like a long time, and I'm
Yeah.
the second youngest on the team. Like this is crazy.
That is insane.
Yeah. Yep.
Playing for that long, and then going to events like that. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's for that long, man. I've only been doing it for 2 years, and I've had a blast. For doing it for as long as you've been doing it, almost 20 years, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, and you talk to some of the guys from the area, who've been playing a really long time, right? Like I know guys who started playing in the 90s, We got guys on
Right.
our team that started playing in the 90s. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I love paintball, so I keep doing it, right?
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I also like to tell people like you make it a couple years in. So like the 2-year thing is big. Like if you can make it past 2 years of playing competitive paintball, you're probably sticking around for a while. And if
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't, you're coming back. And it's like I said, it's something that you just can't really get elsewhere. So you're going to keep coming back.
Sure.
Yeah, a lot of people say it satisfies an itch that they can't get from anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's true. There's only one. Paintball's so unique that in order to satisfy any itch, you got to go back to it just to try it out again, and then I would assume people continue to have that itch because they keep coming back. But I guess it's the more difficult part is getting those people to come in the first place to try it and to get that itch. Don't necessarily think Duluth is Superior or a small town by any means, but it's not like the cities. What do you think are the greatest challenges to getting new players to come in and play paintball in Superior?
That's a great question. One of the things that I've always, talked about is income, right? Paintball's not a cheap sport by any means.
Mhm.
So our area, we got a wide range of incomes, and then as far as sports go as well, like a lot of the people who have the disposable income to play paintball are usually involved in something like hockey or something like that, something else that takes up a bunch of time. And then so like income, right? Like there's not a whole lot of money, and when there is money to spend, they spend it on something else. While paintball might be fun, it still takes the back seat, Yeah. So like that's one big one. I'm trying to think. This is kind of a tough one too. So obviously you guys are upper Midwest paintball players. The weather's a big thing.
Yep.
So I tell people we're lucky if you have 3 months of good weather, right? Like
Right.
we're talking June, July, August. So I mean you can throw September in there if you want. Okay, let's say for the sake of argument, you got 4 decent months. That's not a whole lot of good, like weekends in those months, right?
No.
Yeah.
And then in those weekends, you're gonna have some bad weather. As far as picking a hobby and then a sport that's attached to that hobby, paintball is not awesome because you're outdoors in some pretty poor weather. And as well as I do, you have a weekend where it's just piss and rain, cold as hell, guns don't shoot well. Like paint doesn't shoot good.
Right.
Maybe you end up ruining something. Maybe you slip and hurt something like that. That really does have an impact on people.
Oh yeah.
You really have to be about it if you like playing competitive paintball. In the upper Midwest, like you can't just like roll into the field on a Sunday and count on people being there. Like there's so many factors. So
Yeah.
if you're into competitive paintball, you're about it. And then trying to get just like the average person into that, it's hard, man. Like I said, they're not, all these fields are not playing every Sunday or every Saturday, like there's just, maybe there's one or two teams hanging out doing their own thing. But yeah, I don't know. I think like the weather, income, and honestly like lack of rec ball opportunities. I think that rec ball was the ultimate gateway to tournament paintball. So for me, I grew up playing all these these rec days. Maybe it's a scenario day, bring your own paint day, whatever. The games we would be playing, you'd be playing games that would sometimes reflect tournament paintball. So maybe halfway through the day, there's like a mini 3-man that happens at the rec event. Like maybe it's a random event. Maybe you get to sign up, you and two of your homies, and just enter single elimination, double elimination, something like that. So you were just kind of getting microdosed with tournament paintball on a random, Sunday recreational paintball event. I think the less that these fields and owners invest into the recreational side shows when it comes to the competitive side. Generally speaking, like the players aren't having as much fun because they don't have that love of the game that they would have if they were fostered through a recreational setting first. Yeah, that's something I really believe in. I think that you need some variety in the rec events you host. You can't just have a MagFed event and like a customer appreciation event that they, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's not enough. You need to have some fun ones in there. Things that maybe, you have some structured games that resemble tournament paintball. Maybe host a Top Gun event at it. I know there's a small field in Chippewa Falls that does that, where every rec ball event you can sign up to play a one-on-one tournament. You need stuff like that.
That'd be cool.
And make it, you sign up for it. It's not just like you have to play it. Sign up. So then people who are like, oh, I was thinking about maybe trying a tournament. Well, then they get a little micro dose of a little competitive play in there. And then obviously, like, you have stuff like that, it will also get some of the more competitive paintball players to these rec events. Now, man, you show up to a random rec event at a field, and you might not even know anybody. You know what I mean? It might just be only guys with like Tippmann 98s and mag-fed guns and a couple of high ends that they just bought up from the pro shop wall. But you might not see the guys that you're used to seeing every weekend. That's
Right.
kind of weird.
It also changes it up a little bit, I think, because then you're not always playing with the people that you're not used to playing. And I guess that, for me, that would create a more exciting environment.
Oh, for sure. Like, it's going to mix it up a lot. But, like, your average competitive paintball player is not playing a recreational day at their local field. They're just not.
Yeah, I think I'm famous on my team because Annandale hosts their like big games and whatnot, and I keep telling my guys, you'll never find me at one of those. I'm strictly speedball. So it's like,
What you got to have a recreational event that's like a little bit of everything, in my opinion. Like, there's a imagine though they say, hey, you can enter a team into a 3-man halfway through the day, double elimination. JFP's having a team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd be there.
Yeah.
I think that'd be I think that would be really cool. And I guess this kind of leads into my next question. I was like, what if you had it your way, what would you implement or what would you suggest to all fields that they do in order to increase their customer base?
Oh, like just in general? Like
In
increase the
general.
customer base?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm telling everybody, make free passes to some events a year. Give out 15 free passes for every event and give them, give 5 of them to your favorite regular or give 4 of them to this guy, 4 of them to that, like so they can get out and just give them away to people, man. Like that's the number one way you're going to try paintball is somebody asking, "Hey, you want to play paintball?" Like nobody's just like one day sees an Instagram ad and said, "I'm going to the paintball field." Like that's not how this works. Like somebody's got to ask them to play. So I think you utilize your existing customer base and your friends that you see every week to grow your business and grow paintball. So that's what I would do. I was sitting at the head of the paintball industry. I would say, hey, any field you sell paint to or something like that, like we're giving out free passes for them to go to an event. If you want your event included in these free passes or whatever, send us an email, You can use this pass at this event, that event, wherever.
Right.
And maybe it's just free entry and a rental gun, and they got to pay for paint or whatever. But like that's cool. And also like you could do free 200 rounds of paint or something. Like
right.
You think
a
of
bunch
what
of different things you can implement.
Yeah, and like what do most businesses spend on marketing? They spend a ton of money on marketing if they're trying to grow their business. Like what's a couple cases of paint?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
that's a couple cases of paint and some frickin' card stock, man. Like it's, in my opinion, that kind of stuff is simple.
Yeah, I know
That's really
out
simple.
at Annandale they do I don't know if you've ever participated, but they do their Battle of the Beef. It's
No, I honestly I've seen that posted forever. I
Yeah.
have absolutely no idea what the Battle of the Beef is. I've only heard people make jokes about it.
It's
Like, hey,
fun.
you want to go win some steaks? And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know what the Battle of the Beef is. I
It's
think it's
fun.
a cool idea, but I
They-
don't know what it is.
JT basically just everybody who signs up, you buy a case of paint, you sign your name on a ticket, he puts it in a hat, draws tickets for teams. So teams are randomized, and then
Oh yeah,
there's
hell
a
yeah,
bunch of
I love
different
that.
game modes that you play on all the different fields that he has out there, and
See, this
it's
is
a
what I'm talking
tournament
about. This
base.
is what we need.
Yeah, it's tournament based. So first place gets steak, second place gets pork chops, third place gets chicken, and then everybody else gets like hot dogs.
Okay, I'm down. I love it. That's so much cool. I mean, that's kind of what I guessed it to be, but the Battle of the Beef just sounds crazy, you know? But no, I love that. That's perfect for paintball, right? Like we need that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely something to try out. I mean, even as a new player, you're put on a random team. Like JT will try to keep them fair too. He's not going to put the 3 best players on a team, even though they're randomly drawn. That's just unfair, and he wants to keep it fair and fun for everybody.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He cares a lot about paintball, so
Yeah,
I love it.
I want to thank you for jumping on for a little over an hour with us, talking with us, and getting your insights
Yeah.
and playing ball and what you think is happening up in Superior. So yeah, we really do appreciate you jumping on.
yeah. Thank you.
Of course, of course. And then I'll probably link this podcast in the newsletter whenever you guys have it up. So just make sure you send it to me.
Awesome. Yeah,
I'll
for sure.
I'll throw it up in there. I try and include like one YouTube video a week, and I do have a podcast that sponsors my newsletter too. So there's always something in there about podcast episodes. So whenever you
Awesome.
guys get it, I'll throw it up in there. I was gonna have your first one in there, but I know you guys had some audio issues.
Yeah, the first 2,
Yeah, Randy.
I had some audio issues.
Yeah, I didn't have much of an issue listening to it, but when I like with headphones on, but when I threw it up on like the the laptop, I was like, whoa, there's some
Yeah.
audio.
Very quiet.
Yeah, it's part of the game though, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
took me a little bit to figure it out, but I got it figured out now. I'm pretty sure. A lot of it was
Nice.
the new microphone that I got. It was a very very strong directional. So if I turned my head at all, it just immediately would dampen.
Oh, gotcha. Nice. No, thanks for having me on, guys. If you ever need me to hop on for anything, happy to do that. You guys need any help with anything, happy to do that. I'll share your pod, that kind of stuff. And then, obviously, if you have anything coming up, like scrimmages, anything you want Lake Superior Legacy to come to, you let me know.
Awesome.
I'll
Yeah,
try and
for
get the
sure.
guys, even if I'm really busy with work all the time. So chances of me making it out to one of those things are pretty slim. I'll totally have the guys, roll out to one of those. They love going to Annandale.
Yeah, well, we'd love to see you guys out there, and we'd love to see you out there if you're able to make it as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, of course.
Brandon, what's the most important thing to remember when going out onto the field?
Just fucking play.